The Hoka Torrent 5 has always been a little bit confusing in terms of where it sits in the Hoka trail line. Sometimes people get a little bit confused between this, the Speedgoat and the Mafate. However, it was historically known as a lower stack shoe within the Hoka range, giving you a better ground contact feel. But now they've boosted up the stack underneath your foot, so you have 38 mils in the rear foot, 33 in the forefoot, giving you that classic 5 mil drop that we associate with Hoka. So it sits in line with what you see in terms of stack with the Speedgoat 7, but how does it feel underfoot compared to this? It comes in at a much cheaper price point, around $130, so it's more of your bargain Hoka trail shoe, but does it give you a bargain feel underneath your foot when you're hitting the trails? Let's break down how it feels, what type of stability structure it has, and where it does finally sit in that Hoka range. So as we talked about, we've got a bulked up stack underneath your foot. We've got 5mm lugs with abrasion resistant rubber on the outsole, so you're getting pretty decent traction there. Now it's not the same as the Vibram Mega Grip that we see in the Speedgoat 7, however you're getting decent grip underneath your foot whether you're hitting moderately technical trails or you're just running on forest paths. Where it's not designed to match the Speedgoat 7 is on those highly technical trails or in terrain that's covered in deep mud. Now the CMEVA cushioning is what we classically associate with Hoka, and that's packed into the Torrent 5. And it actually feels really firm and snappy underfoot, so I was quite pleasantly surprised when I set off in this shoe. And part of that has got to do with the geometry of the shoe. You can see on the heel bevel it's got a nice smooth curve at the back, and that means when you initiate contact with the ground it gets you very quickly from the back to the middle of the shoe. It's got a smooth forefoot rocker as well, not as aggressive as what we see in the Speedgoat 7, but a little bit more aggressive than what we see in the Mafate. So we have a really good transition from back to front of the shoe. Now underneath, the midsole is a little bit narrower around the midfoot compared to some of the other shoes, especially the Stinson and the Challenger 8. So it doesn't give you as much stability underfoot, and we've got a much more streamlined upper connection. So we don't have big sidewalls on the outside or the inside, and we don't have a huge amount of sole flare. Sole flare is where the sole comes out wider than where your foot sits in the shoe, increasing the amount of stability within a shoe. So this is very much a classic neutral trail shoe. On top we have a revised upper which is quite breathable. We've got some abrasion resistant rubber around the toe box, and the fit is quite interesting. So it doesn't taper from both sides like we see in a lot of Hoka shoes. We see a straight line up towards the big toe, which is always a big plus. However, it does taper a little bit towards the smaller toe. So what we classify this as more of a narrow to normal fit. At the moment there isn't a wide version available. The upper is extremely breathable, gusseted tongue, plenty of padding around the heel counter, and it's relatively stable around there as well, helping with those pronation moments when you initiate contact with the ground. Now this is very much a daily running shoe. It's firm, it's snappy, you can take it out onto 5 up to 50k runs depending on what you feel is best for you. It's relatively lightweight, coming in at 305 grams in my size 12 US, whereas the Speedgoat 7 comes in at 313. So it's lighter, it's got a very smooth transition underfoot, and it's definitely a shoe that you can use for daily miles. I really liked it, really enjoyed the feel underneath the foot. It was quite snappy, quite quick, and I didn't feel like I was working too hard when I was going uphill, and it gave me plenty of stability going downhill, and changing direction I felt locked in on top of the shoe. So where does this fit within the Hoka range is probably the biggest question here. Well, the Challenger 8 is more of an all-terrain shoe that you can use on the road as well. The Mafate is a bit more of a max stack shoe, and the Speedgoat 7 has the brand new supercritical foam, so it's not as bouncy as what we see in the Speedgoat 7, and it doesn't have that max cushion feel that we get in the Challenger 8. So I feel it's very much your budget entry shoe if you're new to trail running and you want something stable and firm underneath your foot. This does a great job. Who it's not for is if you have a wider foot. If you have more stability needs underneath your foot, you might look towards the Stinson 7, although the Stinson 8 is coming out next month with some big upgrades on it. Or if you just want a daily shoe with a firmer feel underfoot, which is becoming rare and rarer in this bouncy max cushion shoe market. So it's a big thumbs up for me considering the price point, especially if you're new to trail running. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Would you pick it up? Do you have any issues with it? And where do you think it sits within the Hoka lineup? Once again, thank you very much for tuning in, and if you watch regularly but haven't subscribed, please consider it as it makes a big difference to the channel.